Hello everyone. Today is 5th of August. Now it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my second update for day. Second update during the live stream. Well, there is plenty of news that I plan to share with you in this update. Although first of all, let me thank all the members of our community, all of you, for your attention and for participating in this stream. And also many thanks to all the members of our community who will join during the stream or will watch update later on. And if you can, dear friends, please, while listening or watching to this stream, click that like button. That might help with the algorithm. And well, while the entire world, one may say, is focused on Middle East due to recent escalation, breaking news came from Global South, and to be more precise, from Bangladesh, where Bangladeshi Prime Minister resigned and fled country for India, and according to some reports, she asked for political asylum in United Kingdom. Let's go through this news. So Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina fled the country via military helicopter on Monday, after which the South Asian nation's army chief announced that an interim government would be formed. The development came following weeks of violent protests that have engulfed the country and have reportedly resulted in hundreds of deaths as rioters have clashed with police. On Monday, the protesters stormed their prime minister's palace and their capital of Dhaka, demanding Hasina's resignation. And on my Telegram channel, I shared quite a number of videos when protesters are entering not just office of prime minister, but also parliament, building of parliament. They are trying to destroy some monuments. Usual scenes when crowd is overtaking their situation. But Prime Minister, as I said, Prime Minister is in India at this point, and probably she will flee India for United Kingdom. I guess she will be granted a political asylum there. And today I saw several reports that as a result of this unrest in Bangladesh, according to some sources, about 300 people were killed. Also, by the way, RIA Novosti's report from Rosatom that at this point, nuclear power station that is built in Bangladesh by Russian Rosatom is safe. All their workers, their staff is also safe, and no threats are emerging for this power station or the workers in a place, which is also important. Although, by the way, I guess after these disturbances in Bangladesh, probably this project of Rosatom with the nuclear power station probably will be held in short time, and there maybe will never be finished. This is just my speculation at this point. No official statements were made about it. Of course, every side will now wait and see how things will develop in Bangladesh. Despite the Prime Minister's resignation, according to latest reports, clashes still continue between protesters and their security forces. One may wonder what the hell is wrong with these protesters now, when they basically kind of achieve what they wanted. If they are not really destructive force used by some foreign countries or secret services of the foreign countries, then why they are not stopping these riots and acting like crazy? So I have no sympathies for them, and no way. I saw some videos, man. They are acting like I don't know. Anyways, none of my business really. If they want to destroy their own country, it's their business. Anyways, let's continue. TASS News say, oh, and also when it comes to Bangladesh, there was reports that India shut down a railway connection with Bangladesh, and India, by the way, used to be major partner for Bangladesh, and Bangladesh owns India its statehood. Without India, there would be no Bangladesh at all. Just a little historical fact. Anyways, let's continue. TASS News agencies are reporting that, well, in Russia, this war on corruption and corrupt officials continues. And today, Russian media reported that head of Patriot Park, Vyacheslav Akhmedov, and also high-ranking officer of the Defense Ministry, Major General Vladimir Shesterov, were arrested. I translated this little bit of this news. So the head of the Patriot Park, which is located outside of Moscow, in Moscow region, Vyacheslav Akhmedov, was arrested in a fraud case. Deputy head of main directorate of innovative developments of the Russian Defense Ministry, Major General Vladimir Shesterov, was detained along with him. TASS and many other media outlets reported. Well, what can I comment on this? Good that war on corrupt officials and corruption continues. Even before new minister take his position in Defense Ministry, we see number of resignations, and we see number of arrests of high-ranking officials in Defense Ministry, and this process continues. And I guess new Defense Minister is determined to clean this state institution from as much as possible from corruption and corrupt officials. And by the way, this is not just a Defense Ministry. You should see almost every other day Russian security services are reporting about arrest of corrupt elements all around the country. So it seems like security services, Kremlin, and also Kremlin are determined to deal with this issue of corruption, which is, of course, menace of not just Russia, but also every other country in this world. By the way, you tell me where is the country where you have no corruption. But point is to make this corruption as little as possible, to fight it as much as possible and as effectively as possible. And Russia is definitely on this path, and I applaud this. By the way, I was always saying main danger for Russian statehood and for safety of Russian citizens is corruption and corrupt officials. And veterans of our community remember this, isn't it? I was always saying corrupt officials and corruption is a main danger for social fabric here in Russia, for public and for state. And I'm 100% convinced that this is exactly the case. And seems like well, security services are agree with me on that, and they are fighting these corrupt officials in non-stop regime. Anyways, let's continue. Vzglyad newspaper is reporting that with the Iskander-M strike in Balaklia area, which is Kharkov region, about 80 foreign mercenaries were destroyed, neutralized, that were fighting alongside Kiev regime. No precise information from which countries those mercenaries were, but maybe we will learn some more on this matter. Probably many members of our community noticed that lately, almost on weekly basis, we are receiving informations about precise long-range strikes by Russian forces on points of concentration of foreign mercenaries. Seems like Russian armed forces are on a hunt on these mercenaries. And in reality, by the way, we all know that usually NATO troops, NATO military personnel is disguised as mercenaries, right? Anyways, let's continue. TASS News Agency is reporting that units of at least 3 Ukrainian brigades are now encircled in Zhilan settlement, which is Avdiivka or Pokrovsk direction, one may say. Let me show you this area, by the way. This is, of course, Avdiivka sector, and this is Zelenskyy settlement. So according to, let me give you a source. So this information comes from TASS news agency based on its sources in security forces. So this is the Zelenskyy settlement, and units of at least 3 brigades are now trapped in this area. Let's see if they will manage to break out from encirclement. This evening, military summary channel probably will share with us additional information about this situation on Avdiivka sector of the front line in his second update. And dear friends, if by chance you are not familiar with military summary channel, under this video in description box you can find the number of channels that I follow, my recommendation list, and you will see their link to military summary also, and many other channels, by the way. Let's continue now. And TASS news agency is reporting, based on Russian Defense Ministry, that in Kharkov direction on 2 separate occasions 2 German Leopard tanks were destroyed. I shared video on my Telegram. We can watch it here also. I mean, you can clearly see silhouette of the Leopard tank, easily recognizable. It was a drone strike, and well, -1 Leopard, and also another one was destroyed, I believe, with artillery fire. I see this video earlier today, so here it's difficult to see, but you can see here silhouette. It looks like Leopard 2 A6, maybe A4, and then Russian artillery, I guess, received coordinates from a surveillance drone, and they start pummeling this place with their artillery shells, and as a result, minus another Leopard tank. So Ukraine definitely is becoming a cemetery for the Western main battle tanks, Western military equipment in general, and of course among them Leopard tanks and also Abrams tanks. Nowhere to be seen challengers, by the way, since the 2023 so-called counteroffensive of the Kyiv regime in Zaporozhye and South Donetsk sector. Leopard Challenger 2s were nowhere to be seen, isn't it? And during that counteroffensive, 1 Challenger was destroyed, which is documented. Rumors are that another 2 or 3 Challengers were also struck, although without video or photo evidence is hard to tell. But recently there was a report on one of the Western media outlets in which you can read that Challenger 2s are experiencing some difficulties with their mechanical difficulties, basically, and Kyiv regime forces are spending months and months and months waiting for spare parts for these Challenger 2 tanks. So those tanks basically are out of order even without reaching the battlefield, it seems like. Anyways, it was only 12 Challenger 2s that was transferred to Kyiv regime, and of course those 12 tanks will do not really much or any better than T-64s, for example, that Kyiv regime had in numerous numbers in the beginning of the special military operations. Glyad newspaper is also reporting about possible location of the F-16s that formerly Kyiv regime received from NATO. This information is based on a report of Telegram channel Condottiero, and well, according to this channel and their sources, F-16s will be located in Limanskaya airfield. They're not far away from Romania, in Kharkov in Odessa region. And let me show you this Limanskaya, by the way, place. It's not far away from Moldova, and also not far away from Romania. This is also correct. So this is airfield. This is Limanskaya, by the way, settlement here, and this is airfield. Quite a big airfield. Although me personally have some doubts that NATO will locate these F-16s on Kiev-controlled territory. In my understanding, NATO will use airfields in Moldova, possibly in Romania, maybe in Poland, to so that those planes will take off on those airfields. Maybe they will use some airfields in Ukraine as a jump airfields to get refueled, to get armed, and then to conduct a short military operation. But in any case, I think NATO airfields in Romania and Poland most likely will be involved, and the question is what Moscow gonna do about it, really, because on Kiev-controlled territory there is no airfield that is safe for NATO F-16s, and one should keep in mind that these planes, by the way, Western planes in general, are not as agile as Soviet or modern Russian planes. Excuse me, that can take off from unprepared fields, literally from the fields, by the way. These Western planes, usually, as any Western military equipment in general, usually are over-engineered, expensive to maintain, and every 1 hour of flying of F-16 probably needs some 7 or 8 hours of maintenance work to be done on it. So it's and therefore I think there is no such conditions on Kiev controlled territory where engineers, NATO engineers, can do this maintenance and keep those planes safe. And that's why I think probably Romanian and Polish airfields will be used in some capacities, and Kiev regime's airfields only as a jump airfields for refueling and rearming. But yet again, let's see how all things develop. In a week or 2 weeks time, probably we will learn much more about deployment of and operations of these F-16s that we know now. And to me personally, only question is how will Moscow react if we will find out, if we will receive factual information that these F-16s really are located in airfields of NATO member states. Anyways, let's continue. RT is also reporting that according to Zelenskyy, West is too fearful of escalation with Russia. I mean, this individual one day, probably it all depends. Statements of Zelenskyy probably are dependent on quality of powder that he is using. Because one day he's talking about peace, talking about negotiations with Russian side. Another day he's blaming West that they are not enough involved in this conflict. This individual clearly is out of his mind. But let's go through this news anyways. Ukraine is pushing NATO nations to create a coalition that would attempt to intercept Russian missiles. Vladimir Zelenskyy has stated the US-led military bloc has previously declined to do so. Kiev has long been pressuring its Western backers to become more involved in the conflict with Moscow and start shooting down Russian drones and missiles over Ukrainian territory. However, its efforts have been rebuffed by the foreign powers, reluctant to engage in a direct military confrontation with Russia. And then, quote, Western nations are always concerned about possible escalation. We are fighting against that. We will work on it, Zelenskyy told journalists on Sunday. The government in Kiev is considering technical possibilities for neighboring nations to use military aircraft against missiles that strike Ukraine after flying in the general direction of NATO countries, he added. And by the way, this formulation is quite interesting, isn't it? NATO countries are basically surrounding from two sides. Ukraine, from southern western side, it's Romania. From western side, it's Hungary, Slovakia, and Poland. So any missile that will be launched by Russian forces, theoretically speaking, can be seen as directed generally towards west, towards west, isn't it? But yet again, will NATO get involved this much in this conflict? I don't know, hard to tell. But anything is possible. Zelenskyy has been calling for establishing of no-fly zone over Ukraine since the outbreak of hostilities with Russia in February 2022, and he continues basically to his attempts to somehow draw NATO countries in a big way in this proxy war against Russia that Western ruling class is waging, basically by using Ukraine and sacrificing Ukraine as its proxy. That's been said. Let's see what kind of remarks we will receive from the NATO member states, if they will even react on these calls from Zelenskyy. But anyways, let's continue. And Jerry Cogan, member of our community, thank you very much for your donation on Boosty. Comment is, let's get this donation started. Thank you very much. And dear friends, as you know, I said many times before that towards the end of live stream, if I receive any questions through Boosty or donation alerts, this donation alert program is working only during the live streams. So if I receive now any message or comment or question through Boosty or donation alert or PayPal, I will react on it during the stream. Unfortunately, I cannot react on Patreon during the stream, because to operate on Patreon, I need to open VPN, which will cut my live streams. So therefore, I checked Patreon before I started the live stream. There was no questions there, no questions on Boosty or through PayPal, and therefore I will just continue a live stream. And of course, I will monitor these platforms. And I just mentioned Patreon and Boosty. So dear friends, let me then remind you, if I may, that this small media project of mine with several channels on YouTube, Rumble, Telegram, completely subscriber funded, and I will be immensely grateful if you will also consider to support my work with donation or by subscribing to my Patreon page or Boosty page for that matter. I post bonus videos or extra content on both platforms, on both pages, on Boosty and Patreon. Although Patreon is of course much more significantly developed, because I start working on Patreon much earlier than on Boosty. Well, my goal is to reach 200 subscribers on Patreon. If it's even possible, I don't know. It depends on our community. So if you can, please consider to subscribe on my Patreon page. Links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. Once we will reach 200, once our community on Patreon will reach 200, I will be able to say that this project is safe now, more or less, relatively safe now. So let's see. Anyways, let's continue with the news. Sorry, dear friends, that I have to mention this topic of donations and Patreon and Boosty in every update, but that's how independent channels are existing, only thanks to support of members of our community. And of course, I'm extremely grateful to all the members of the community who supported and continues to support my work. Thank you very much. And let's continue with news now. TASS news agency is reporting that Defense Minister of Israel ordered their Air Force to be ready for offensive operations. And I guess this statement comes on the background of information that I shared in today's first update, that Netanyahu and his government was discussing preventive strikes on Iran, and there may be something like that is in works in Israel. As I said in the beginning, world is focused now on Middle East, of course, and there is expectation that Iran and Hezbollah will retaliate. Probably there will be combined operation against Israel. Rumors are that these retaliatory strikes might take not just one but several days. So things may escalate on extreme terms in the Middle East. And same time, Israel is also making its statements threatening basically its opponents. I don't want to use enemy word, but threatening its opponents that they might conduct some preventive strikes. Let's see how all things develop. We have also additional information about yet another avio company, this time Lufthansa Group, that stopped flights in certain directions. For example, there will be no flights from Lufthansa Group towards Tehran, capital of Iran, until 8th of August. Also, by the way, interesting news that former defense minister of Russian Federation and current secretary of the Security Council is visiting Iran right now, today. Officially, in official statements, it says that this is a working visit, planned visit, but of course, I expect many people to ask question if this visit has something to do with current escalation between Iran and Israel. Probably it does, and I said quite a number of times in previous updates that probably Russia, China, India, other countries that are in very good relationships with Iran will try to recommend Tehran to retaliate with restraint, to make a point, but not to escalate in extreme terms. But who knows, really, in reality? Who knows? We already received some information from different media sources that Iran's officials denied these recommendations, and they are going to, according to these information, they are going to conduct a much more serious strike, retaliatory strike, this time against Israel, that we see previously after Iranian embassy was targeted, Iranian consulate was targeted in Damascus. So yet again, the situation is very difficult, and not just the region, but the world may end up in a war, global war, because Israel is a nuclear country. If region will be engulfed in fire, then it is risks that rest of the world will one way or another will get involved in this confrontation, will increase dramatically, of course. So let's hope we will see the escalation, but I don't know. I don't know how realistic that is, because all sides are, at least on the level of statements, only escalating at this point. RIA Novosti is reporting that in UK, by the way, unrest continues, and we have information that at least 420 people were arrested during this unrest, riots, and probably for this moment this number is even higher. Of course, if any additional news, I will report about it on my Telegram and the next updates. Although in our community there are many citizens of UK, and of course they can share in the comment section the information about situation in United Kingdom. After all, certain individuals, high profile public figures, even are going as far as to predict a civil war in United Kingdom. I don't think civil war will happen, but situation must be really dramatic if such statements are made. So yes, 420 people are arrested. There are dozens of people were wounded during these clashes with police and between different groups inside the UK. So let's see how the situation develops. RT is also reporting that Nigerian leader demands end of violent protests. So Nigeria is also undergoing these violent protests. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has called for a suspension of mass protests against economic hardship in the West African nation, citing the deadly clashes during the demonstrations last week. President made a request during the televised address on Sunday, announcing his government's preference for dialogue in dealing with the concerns of the protesters. So yes, situation in Nigeria is difficult. It's difficult, and I saw some videos, by the way, that some protesters were participating in these demonstrations with the Russian flags. I wonder what is the deal there, what's going on. Russia cannot be involved everywhere, by the way, and Russia can be presented in this country or that country only if officially invited. So if protesters in Nigeria think that Russia might get involved one way or another without official invitation, they are wrong. There is no way Russia will play any negative role in this regards. So it's better really to conduct negotiations, I guess, and to resolve all the issues through dialogue and agreements on necessary reforms that needs to be taken to stabilize economical and social situation in the country. But I was, yes, little surprised to see Russian flags among demonstrators. Russia is popular, by the way. What can I say? Russia is popular worldwide, and African nations are not an exception. RT is reporting that Japan's Nikkei faces worst day in history. In this morning, by the way, in first update, I mentioned that Nikkei index failed 8 or 9%, isn't it? And then at some point it was seems like things stabilized, but no, fail of Nikkei continues. And let's go through this news, by the way. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 stock index suffered the biggest ever one-day loss on Monday as global sell-off intensified, amid fears that the US could be heading for recession. The Nikkei pledged 12.4%, by the way, ending the day in Tokyo at 31,341.29. The loss of 4,451 points, basically, which is tens of billions, by the way, probably hundreds of billions if we make transaction of those percentage points into money. And Japan is not alone. Even Russian market, by the way, suffered 1 or 2% dropped, but Russian market not really dependent on markets of the collective West, while after Japan there was turbulence on European exchange stock exchanges, and also US exchange opened, New York exchange opened, isn't it? Just like an hour ago or a couple of hours ago, and already Bloomberg is reporting that this opening was quite negative for S&P 500 and Nasdaq, and they are losing also significantly. And by the way, same time, Bitcoin is failing. Seems like some perfect storm is about to happen or something like that, because stock exchanges are failing. Bitcoin is failing below 50,000. Just like a few days ago, Bitcoin was around 70,000. Now 50,000. I guess investors in Bitcoin had unimaginable, I mean, huge losses, of course, which is unfortunate, of course, but what you gonna do? And also, by the way, we have information that Russia is increasing its profits from sales of oil and gas for 61.6% in the first 7 months of this year. So in rubles, it's 6.777 trillion rubles, which is almost like 3 trillion more than same period last year. Just in July, by the way, Russian income increased through sales of oil and gas for 16.4%, up to 944 billion rubles. For many members of our community, these numbers, trillions of rubles, may say not much. I'll give you current exchange rate, by the way. Let's check right now. So according to TASS news agency, at this point exchange rate is 85 rubles, basically 85.70 for $1 and 92.83 for €1. So in any case, news is definitely a good one for Russia, that they are increasing income for 61%. That's quite huge. That's quite huge. And also, by the way, information about situation on markets. Let me translate this, and I will end this part of live stream on this. So the world's 500 richest people lost more than 130 billion on August 2nd. The week on Wall Street ended with the worst day since the coronavirus, which the stock market as a whole losing almost 3 trillion, by the way. Tech giants are experiencing problems with investor confidence. For example, Intel shares have fallen by more than a third in a month, and Warren Buffett get rid of almost half of his Apple shares in his portfolio, Reuters reported, and I spoke about it in today's morning's update, isn't it? And by the way, reports are that investors have a fear that the US economy is on verge of recession. That's a big fear. And also, I guess, realization that IT companies are overrated. I was always saying that IT companies, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, all those companies, by the way, are extremely overrated. And I guess more and more investors are coming to this understanding, especially now when situation is becoming more and more turbulent in this world, and things may escalate so much so that some supply chain may break down. These companies may start experiencing difficulties to produce their chips, to produce their gadgets and so on, and if they are unable to produce chips and gadgets, then who needs them, really? So this is a high risk investment, in my personal opinion, when you are putting your money in IT companies. And I guess not all, but many investors probably have a somewhat similar understanding of the situation. I'm not a financier, so I'm just sharing my take on the situation. But look at the numbers, by the way. look at the numbers. They lost 3 trillion on shares. Really, man, it's a huge. It's really huge. And as I said, today, when these markets opened, by the way, in US, they also start in minus. S&P and Nasdaq, they are in minus also. Things may improve a little bit, but at least for now, that's the situation. And now let me give you some additional news that I posted on my Telegram that did not make it to today's first update, for example. So, according to several sources, last night Russian armed forces conducted long-range strikes on military and logistical infrastructure of the Kyiv regime in Vinnytsia, Poltava, Dnipropetrovsk, Nikolaev, Odessa, Kyiv, and a number of other regions. And just before I started this live stream, I saw on one of their channels, it was, I believe, Kirill Fyodorov's channel. There was explosions in Nikolaev area or some, in Odessa and Nikolaev region, by the way. Yes, he on this channel 16:27 local time. This information was posted that in Odessa and Nikolaev region, military and logistics infrastructure of the Kyiv regime was under missile strikes. Let's continue, and well, then I share this information, which is our community already know that according to Axios, Iran and Hezbollah could attack Israel as early as August 5th, and this information was shared with G7 countries by U.S. Secretary of the State Antony Blinken. Well, today is 5th of August, and at this moment, let me check right now. At this moment, no reports, by the way, about Iran's retaliatory strike or Hezbollah's retaliatory strike. Let's continue with some more news. So this is information that I spoke in today's first update about possible preventive strike of Israel. Hungary and Slovakia consider cutting electricity supply to Ukraine if Kyiv continues blocking Russian oil supplies. This kind of warnings we are receiving for several days now, but yet no concrete steps were made from Bratislava or Budapest. Let's see if things will change in upcoming days. And dear friends, I can see in the chat questions, and let me emphasize that this is not a community chat. During the weekdays, whenever I have a live stream, it's a news update, and if I receive questions during the day or during the live stream on donation alert, well, Ruski Brat, thank you very much for your donation on donation alerts. Also, by the way, Al Peterson, thank you very much for your donation on Boosty. Al is commenting, greetings Levan and everyone. Sorry, I cannot watch with you. I am at work. Thanks as always for the news, Levan. Thank you, Al, for your support and attention. Truly grateful. And that's what I'm gonna do, dear friends. If I see during the weekdays commentary through Boosty, donation alert, or PayPal or Patreon, I will of course react on it. But when it comes to be engaged with in the chat, this is during the community chat, by the way, on Sundays. Let's continue now. Let's continue, and I shared this video, dear friends, also this morning. Quite a rare occasion, I guess, when so many beers, by the way, are concentrated in one place. They find something there, and they were having a meal, I guess, or I don't know, preparing plans to override humanity. But yes, interesting. Some people, this is happening in Russia's Far East, by the way, in Magadan area. And some people were driving in the forestry area, and they come up with this scenery, which is quite something, man. Quite something. I mean, at least 2 dozen of beers, by the way, there. Also, many members of our community probably already see on my Telegram channel or maybe on other channels these videos. This is video evidence when this former US Marine, I believe, that was recently released as a result of exchange, prisoner exchange. This is when he is receiving classified information, and he was then arrested. His name is Paul Whelan, by the way. And of course, Washington was very keen to pretend that this person has nothing to do with their espionage activity, nothing to do with their trying to get his hands on some classified information. And it's not just Paul Whelan, but also this individual, so-called journalist from Wall Street Journal, Evan Gershkovich. This is audio, by the way. Originally, audio is in Russian, as I understand. Seems like Evan Gershkovich he knows a little bit of Russian. Well, Langley prepared him a little bit, I guess. Of course, you can listen to this conversation on Telegram channel, and also this video, by the way. RT released these videos today. This is when Evan Gershkovich was arrested, and take a look at his hand. He is trying to drop some evidence, basically, when he some classified information that he received from someone that he was communicating with. And in this conversation, it is clear that he is told that this is classified information. He don't care. He is saying that, you know what, we will deal with it. He wants to get his hands on this classified information. That's all he cares, according to conversation. And what you see, what kind of statements we see from Wall Street Journal or from US officials, that Evan Gershkovich is a journalist and he did not even try to get to some classified information or something. Isn't it? They always denied that Gershkovich was attempting to get classified information. And now we have this video, audio evidences, and I was saying always, by the way, isn't it? I was saying that most likely there are some videos and audio evidences of involvement of these people in their espionage activity, and that's why I believe several weeks ago, Foreign Minister of Russian Federation Sergei Lavrov said directly that there is irretrievable evidences that Evan Gershkovich, for example, was involved in gathering of classified information. And it is true. And I guess Sergei Lavrov already knew about this and probably much more video and audio materials that Russian security services have. Anyways, let's continue. I wonder if Western media will pay any attention to these videos. I don't know. And this is we already see this video, by the way, destruction of this Leopard tanks on Kharkov direction. Ukraine is definitely becoming a cemetery for Western main battle tanks, Western infantry fighting vehicles, and other military equipment. This is information about chaos on the stock markets. Information about situation in Bangladesh. I already said about encirclement of number of units of 3 brigades of Kyiv regime in Avdiivka direction. This is a video of how former prime minister of Bangladesh flee from country to India on Mi-8 or Mi-17 helicopter. This is Russian helicopter clearly, but it's Mi-8 type helicopter basically. They all look quite similar. Mi-8, Mi-17, Mi-117, for example. Also information that U.S. Central Command Chief General Michael Kurilla arrived in Israel, and probably he will coordinate with the Israeli side next military operations of Israeli and US or NATO forces in the region, including possible preventive strike or possible interceptions of their drones or missiles that might be launched by Hezbollah or Iran as a retaliation. Then I shared a link from Alex Christoforou. Today he had a yearly update, a relatively yearly update for Moscow time. Usually Alex Christoforou, and of course I'm talking about hosts of Duran show, by the way. Usually Alex Christoforou has updates about like 6, 7, 8 o'clock here in Moscow. By Moscow time, Alexander Mercury's have updates a little late, about 9, 10 o'clock, and about 11 o'clock military summary has his second updates. And of course I am trying on daily basis to follow all these updates. Then I share this information, by the way, that Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal said that Ukraine received 3.9 billion grant US dollars as a grant from United States through their World Bank. Well, another 3.9 billion of US taxpayers' money that was gifted basically to Kyiv regime, to Zelenskyy and his corrupt criminal officials. Of course, Kyiv regime will never pay back this money, obviously. This is a video when army chief in Bangladesh made a statement about creation of interim government. He asked protesters to calm down and to basically de-escalate, but according to some reports that I see, clashes still continues in several areas in Bangladesh between protesters and security forces. Also, as I already mentioned, information that Secretary of the Russian Security Council Sergei Shoigu arrived in Iran today on a working visit. Then update from Defense Ministry on progress of special military operation during the previous 12 to 24 hours. Information about Bitcoin, that it failed below 50,000, which is not good really. Not good for Bitcoin holders, obviously. Destruction, and this is video of destruction of munition depot of Kyiv regime in area of Mirnograd. Huge explosion. Then announcement of today's live stream. And this is the video, by the way, that I was talking about. That's what is going on in Bangladesh. That's what was happening in Bangladesh today. This statue, by the way, this monument is a father of current prime minister of or former prime minister of Bangladesh, if I'm not mistaken. This is a building of parliament, as far as I understand. Protesters entered. I mean, why all this activity, man? What these people are doing here, is it normal? I don't think so. Who let these people into parliament building, man? This is, I guess, a residency of the prime minister, some rioters inside there. There might be some classified information there or something. Where is the security forces, man? What the hell is going on here? And you know, that's chaos, by the way. Quite chaotic situation. I don't think Bangladesh will benefit big time with such developments, but yet again, none of my business. I will just report what is happening, and then we will monitor situation together. But I'm always saying that unfortunately people are not really trying to analyze situation, and quite often they are becoming a weapon in hands of third parties, and not just inside their own countries, but also parties that are operating from outside of the countries. And I think current situation in Bangladesh is also a demonstration of that. But yet again, let's see. With time, we will learn some more about all that regime change operation that took place in Bangladesh. And this is the information from Bloomberg, by the way. Some snapshot here. And the Dow Jones is down, at least at the point when this picture was made. All the Dow Jones is down, S&P 500 is down, Nasdaq is down, and maybe this process, this chaos continues, will continue throughout the day, and who knows if S&P and Nasdaq will fail too much, maybe exchange just will be even closed to stabilize somehow situation. I don't know, but something big is definitely happening on markets, and bigger shareholders are clearly losing billions and billions. And this is it for now, dear friends. Let me once again check. Here, and well, hopefully you will find this news update interesting, informative, and if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary just about anything. This is the only way we can deal with the algorithm. And as I said during the stream, if you like my work, if you want to support, you can do it through a donation, through PayPal or Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon and Boosty pages. All the links under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. Have a great day, and bye for now.